I hate streams so much. This thing really just died on me. That's not the first time that's happened either, and it might do it again. God. Well, anyway, I was just talking about some stuff, and I'll try to repeat some of it here if we can get the cast of characters back for this. I don't know what that is. Like I'll shut down almost everything else that I have open, and then it will still quit on me. It's really weird. It does that randomly, um, and it's really annoying. Like every girlfriend I had passed away on me. I'm glad Dio came to the real stream. The other one got canceled by my computer. It decided to strike out against me. Let me just regurgitate some of what I said in the other stream. So I was talking about how I had written the script for the romance video I did on Tuesday, which was called "Women Don't Care About You," and I said at the beginning, not all, but whatever. The video explains what I was talking about, and in the video, I described how when you really break a date down into something, it's not that big of a deal. Like it's you going with someone for an hour or two to somewhere, and how it's like this really simple thing that people have made going on excessively difficult for no reason. And I was mentioning how there was a person on Instagram that I started speaking to a month ago, and they had promised to send me a voice message. And I had asked this because one of the women that was in that video I did called "Why Do Women with Boyfriends Like Talking to Me?" used to send me voice messages and ask me how my day was, and it was just a little nice, pleasant thing. And then this person for over a month didn't send this voice message to where I forgot about it. I'll read your comment in a moment, Megumi. And then one day they posted. This was yesterday, actually. They posted a I think it's an Instagram story. It's like those little videos that quit very quickly or like they're over soon, where they were talking about something. And I said, well, you said you were going to send me a voice message and never did this. Oh, I was feeling stressed out for a month and my health was not good. And you're trying to make me send you a voice. I was like, no, you said you would do this. You're not doing it. And I'm simply reminding you that you didn't do what you said you would that you didn't do what you said you would do. You're not in trouble. I can't make you do anything. I'm just simply stating my displeasure at the fact that you promised me something that you didn't end up doing. And I didn't think it was that big of a deal because everybody knows voice messages literally get recorded in less than a minute. So this person is telling me that they're so traumatized that they can't send less than a minute of them speaking about whatever. After a month. I hope my donation went through before I saw it. I have to go look in my settings to make sure. And if it didn't, I mean, I don't know what else I could do. Because you might like, he's trying to jip me out of $5. I've been accused of so many things on this website. Oh, let me see. I'm going to the super section. Yeah, it's there. The double standards are too much. Take this. Thanks. I didn't get to read that because it went off right as you sent that. What happens is my computer has this thing where it'll just randomly shut off it doesn't happen like every hour, and sometimes I can just use it for an extended period where it doesn't do that. Sometimes it will just randomly shut off the browser, and that'll crash the stream. So that's what happened. And I was very angry because I was making some points I liked. But it is what it is. I'm not that's not the first time that's happened. It's just annoying to sit there and like talk for half an hour and then it's like, hey, if you saw some of the stuff I've been accused of, I mean, and I didn't think because it would record it on there even if the stream got busted up. I just want to make sure that it was whatever you wrote was still read. No, people online always try to say you did something to them. I had a woman try to tell me that I supposedly made her, was trying to make her send me a voice message when she agreed to do it and then didn't do it for a month. And I was mentioning how this other person, I waited 2 months to have a phone call with them, and how 6 times back to back they kept scheduling to have a call with me and not making it, to where after that they didn't schedule anymore. They just decided to stop bothering to even schedule one. Um, and I was extremely angry because I waited to have a call with this person week after week. And it's like I'm not sympathetic to them at all, because I waited for an extraneous amount of time for them to do something that I don't really see as being that big of a deal. Like, you can have a call this week, fine, whatever. But 2 months? Really? I just can't buy it. So I uh I was sick of that. And then Dio is over there laughing at something. Yeah, I'll think about doing another Dragon Ball video. I'm just I mean, the thing is with Dragon Ball, the only thing that is just consistently good is the games, and then the manga for me is hit and miss. We had a new chapter come out this week. I didn't even read it. So I'll try to, I have one idea for a video, but I haven't written anything for it. When you write a script, you have to then go grab the pictures, record the audio, cut out where you made an error, all that. Get your 10 views. I still can't get over the person that did the stream where they said that I'm supposedly, like, I picked this chair so I could beg my subs for money. And then you literally, even in like the time of just not being employed perpetually, you've never seen me be like, please, please. So that's why I say I get accused of everything on here. All that time to do a simple phone call that would take less than a minute. No, the call is another person. The voice recording on Instagram takes less than a minute. You put your finger on this button on your phone and then it records it, and most of those are less than 1 minute. And I waited a month to get that, never received it. And then this person told me that I was stressing them out and I was making them feel so bad. I was making them look bad. I'm like, who the hell are you looking bad to? We're in DMs. Nobody can see this except you and I. They sounded insane to me. They treat it like it's, yeah, yeah. Remember, there's certain stuff I'm trying not to say it so I cannot lose my 2 cents from YouTube, but they do. I mean, like, when you ask them on a date, I I just don't feel like we've connected enough, and I think that we should see other people, and I think that you would be better off talking to someone else, and you deserve someone who actually wants to do that with you. And well, I don't know if this would be something that we would actually be. It's like, Jesus, just say no. I swear, there was one woman I asked on a date, and she gave like a whole monologue. I'm like, just say no. Like, forget talking for weeks or months. Just say no. There was one woman I was in an Uber with, and I asked her for her number, and she said no, and that annoyed me to an extent. And she thanked me after I asked it. I guess it's some kind of flattery thing. But I'd have more respect for that, because at least, she didn't try to pretend that I was someone that appealed to her. I just don't see where this is a fruitful usage of my time. They do treat it like it's a diagnosis, like the doctor just came in there and said you have this terminal illness. Like, that's the equivalent of the way they act if you ask them on a date. And like I said, I could get it if it's, again, a random woman you approach the market or a mall or whatever. But these are chicks that you'll talk to for weeks or months, and they'll gas you up. They'll say, "Oh, we're friends, and I think we have a connection, and you're so handsome, and you're so smart, and you're so funny," and all their trash. And then when you ask them on a date, I don't even know what Dio is saying true too. He can inform me on what he's laughing about. I remember that guy that like tried to have the conspiracy theory that I was 5'5". Actually, the first thing he commented on my stream was LOL, and like that was I didn't even make a joke or anything. Like he came on the stream and said that as his first comment. That was like the initial sign that that was someone that was like off. Jesus, I think you can buy me food. Yeah, no one ever tells them that they have to do any of this stuff. Like when they go on a date, the man a lot of times will pay for the food or the movie or whatever, and they're like, you know, when they go on it, they don't have to kiss the man, they don't have to do anything with him other than sit next to him or like be in some close proximity. Still too much. So I said this woman stuff is really when you break it down, it gets more depressing because of how simple a lot of the things they have to do are, and they make them seem as if they're these big outlandish requests. Was somebody coming here? Am I going to get an my what do you call it? Annual interruption with every stream where somebody has to interrupt? It looks like it might be. I don't know. I don't see anyone out there. There was some point I was making about oh yeah, that like when people put all that stock into one person, and that when that comment that was in the video, I saw that on it was some video called Debate with an I Word, and you know what the I word is. Um, and the guy was saying it was paradoxical for them to be the way that they are, for men to be the way that they are, because quote unquote men that are not attractive get with like whatever that means, right? Because people call everybody ugly at some point. They said that they get with hot girlfriends because they're likable. I'm like, but if you're not likable, why do these women talk to you for weeks and months? I had one of them literally the year before last speak to me for 10 months from September to July. And the only reason it ended was because I ended it. It would just kept going on and on. No, you're unlikable. That's what I use. I'm like what is it, Mesmero from X-Men, the one that like hypnotizes people. That's my special power. I'm unlikable, so I use my special powers to make you speak to me for extended periods of time. Exactly. If they didn't like you, they wouldn't spend all that time chatting to you. But that's why I said that like people who like don't want to take, I guess, the side of men that it's too difficult to get with the woman, they have to like assign, like they have to blanket statement all men to be the same way. It is for them. They want to defend random women they've never met so badly that they have to attack random men they've never met. You're likable. They just want a guy to make other girls jealous. Oh, and I was saying that I was supposed to originally save the one that was in the video for this other video I was gonna do. It was gonna be called Top 10 Worst Things Women Have Done to Justin. And it was gonna be all these different, like my ranking of the worst encounters I've had with women, including one that I still have never discussed on here before that happened about 4 years ago. Um, and I was just shocked by how outlandish it was. But that thing with the one in the video still drives me crazy because the person started out antagonistic. They tried to accuse me of supposedly having high standards, even though, again, nobody has ever seen what any of these women look like on here because I don't put up any of their pictures. And then ask me all these invasive questions. What kind of school do you go to? What do you want to learn? Dot, 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 dot. And then out of nowhere, there's a swerve to getting rejected. And it's like, to get rejected by someone who says you are too good for her, who has admitted she finds you physically attractive, I don't know how you can come back from that and still think you're going to egg out some happy ending with this nonsense. Like, you got the same result from her that you would get from someone that called you ugly and didn't talk to you. That you go up to at the market and they refuse to give you their number and they say get lost. It was the same result except extended. Like, the only difference is the stuff that they say and how long it takes them to say no. That's it. I've been thinking that we would not be good together for many reasons. I'm not going to explain any of them. I'm just going to disappear. Goodbye forever. I mean, they drive me crazy on here. What is wrong with people? Exactly. The only difference is the change in rhetoric and time spent. The result is still the same anyway. You either talk to a woman, you either approach a woman who doesn't like you and refuses to give you her number, or you talk to a woman who says she likes you but not enough and still refuses to go on a date. So either way, you just can't win. I mean, it really is damned if you do, damned if you don't, because I was like, there was a guy that came on my channel. He was like, "Oh, you're giving up by not talking to women." I said, "Well, you can look at it that way, but," and I would say objectively, yes, I am. But if you're going to keep having your time wasted with these people, I don't really understand where the incentive is to keep participating in that system. Because remember, you get turned down over and over, and the only difference is how long it takes and what the woman says. So if you're not getting what you want, why would you feel motivated to keep doing it? Like, why do you have to talk to 90 women or 200 or whatever to get somebody to go on a date, to maybe go on a date? And like I said, when you break down how much stock they put into one woman, it's even creepier. Like, oh yeah, this one woman is going to actually want to go on a date, and she's going to conveniently be somewhere that you can actually come and date her, and she's not going to cheat on you, and she's not going to beg you for money, and you're going to find her so attractive, and she's going to like you for who you are, and she's yeah. And again, we gave the real life example. See, I don't follow, I'll heed the advice of people in real life more than people online because, Megumi, a dirty secret about my detractors is that out of all of the ones who have like spoken disparagingly about me, right, who have said, oh, he's ugly and he's this, that, and the other, not a single one of them out of just the 4+ years of them writing nasty stuff about me, not a single one of them has ever shown proof that they are with a woman. None. And a lot of the ones that start talking about the way I look usually have their faces covered. That's the dirty secret about my detractors, that they don't actually show proof that they've been successful in netting a woman. And I would dare to think that if I was successful in getting with one, I wouldn't be going on videos by a man who's not with one. Like, again, I know how to draw, so I don't look up art tutorials. You think I'm kidding? Out of all of those guys, I've never seen one of them who like writes the nasty stuff about me or gives the advice that's actually with a woman. Oh, it's completely insane, yes. So I said we live in the Twilight Zone. It's like you get the same result from a woman that says she thinks you're too good for her and you're so handsome that you would get from a woman who says you're ugly and you're not good enough for me. So it really is, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Either way, you just can't win. Like Megumi, if you were with a woman, right, one who you actually enjoyed being with, wouldn't you be spending time with that person instead of looking up videos on men that haven't been able to get with one? Right? I would dare to think, I would hope. That's the biggest paradox I've ever, like, between men who supposedly being with who are supposedly successful with women flooding the videos of men that aren't with women, and then men spending more time talking about the appearance of another man than women. It all of it is just the Twilight Zone. But no, I want to go back to that thing about how they put so much stock in the one woman. And I gave the example of how I had asked my dad and my grandfather, and my best friend had asked his dad, and they all said the same thing, that to get with someone who they either married or had a long-term relationship with, they had to date multiple women. They didn't just get rejected year after year, and then here comes Supergirl to, to save the day. And again, the reason for citing that, right, is to say that a lot of times people who think, like, they try to use your age against you and say you don't know what you're talking about. But if you ask your elders and they tell you this is not how things were for me, and it's that same theme of it didn't require multiple years of trying to get someone to like them back, and they were allowed to have multiple partners, it just makes the way things are now seem even more insane and backwards. Exactly. There would be no need to look at videos of others who are unsuccessful with women. Yeah. Like, you would have no purpose for it. I mean, hell, if I had gotten with somebody, um, you know, 4 or 5 years ago, none of these would exist. Like, there has to be a cause that makes you want to either watch that stuff or make that stuff. No, people are really just insane. I can't wait to get with a woman so I can sit on the computer and harass men that aren't with one. What a prosperous phase of my life that will be. I don't get that at all. That is really crazy to me. I'm just sitting there so mad because my stream got terminated by the wonderful browser. The technology will drive you crazy. What was I gonna say? Um, yeah, but I do think about her sometimes, and just I really believed it was finally over. She was asking all the right stuff. She seemed to actually like me as a person, and it just it's just another red herring. More lies and deception. That's why I called them Transformers, because they appear to be Autobots, and then they decide to deceive you when the purple insignia comes out. Oh, I think you're so handsome and smart, and you're too good for me. That's why I'm rejecting you. And it's like, how many times does this have to happen before you're allowed to say this is not getting? Because a lot of people will say that it's really crazy to think that for the rest of your life this will happen. But I mean, just because a couple of years pass doesn't mean anything. And then I had one person who was saying, "Oh, get money." But it's like, why do you? And this is why people don't really connect with me on this stuff. A lot of men are looking for someone that they think likes them for who they are, that they find physically attractive as well, but that they have some actual good relationship with, that's not the person liking them for what they own. So when people tell you that, oh yeah, eventually someone will find the fact that you own this appealing, they're telling you just wait for a bunch of gold diggers. And again, what person wants to be with someone who only likes them for something that they either have or another physical characteristic? Like, who wants that? But I said before, if I had the option of either being with the person who was going to beg me for money or being by myself, I would pick the latter. I'd rather be by myself forever than be with someone who begs me for coins every 2 seconds. Told you, only reason that kid exists, that the dingbat with the baby popped out, is because the guy was desperate to not be single anymore, and he did whatever she wanted. And it's like, I don't, I asked my best friend, I asked one of my mods, and they all said the same thing. We don't want that type of relationship. So for us, it's not, do whatever it takes to get somebody to agree to date you. It's, you actually have to want something that's appealing for you as an individual, not just, oh, yay, I succeeded because now I have somebody begging me for things. Yeah, she took advantage of him heavily. I'm telling you, man, that's the reason that gets brought up by me all the time is because that is the longest lasting relationship I've seen between two people my age. And it's like, she took him for his money because with the storage unit thing, she cheated on him while he was doing that for her. She cursed him out repeatedly. And I'm like, who wants that? And you'll have people on here, right, who will who actually take me at face value, because I don't know why I would make this up, but they'll say, oh, that was just one person. That won't happen to you. Well, hell, I told you about the one broad that agreed to be my girlfriend that literally right after that started begging me for money. And then I said, yeah, we're not doing that. And did the Thanos snap. It's like people on here will just, I think it is. I think a lot of people are more aware of the fact that there's a lot of men who've never been with anyone. So they try to like give you the fairy tale, like the Disney stuff of, oh, the perfect woman shows up after all these years of being turned down over and over and over and over again. And they try to pretend there's no middleman. There's no way for you to lose by getting what you want. Because if you have any amount of money that you've worked hard for, there is no reason in hell you should have to lose it to make up for the woman that you're apparently dating's sin. The guy didn't get her kicked out of her house, but he had to pay for it. According to her, anyway. Like, why should that be your fate? But no, a lot of people do pretend that, those types of things aren't happening. This sounds like a really terrible deal and unfair. But you get what I'm saying? If you've worked hard for what you own, if you've treated people right, why should you lose a very large sum of your money because the woman acted crazy and cursed out someone that had authority over her? And like I said, flip it. If I was with a woman, right, and I cursed out the person I like that, could kick me out, whatever, would you really think it's fair to her to have to pay for my storage unit as I cheat on her and I curse her out over the phone? Would you really think that was right? But it's like I said, relationships in a lot of cases are just like, all they do is have net positives for the woman. They have nothing for you. Yeah, I guess you get to, do that a little bit, but it's still not. No amount of that is worth losing what you've worked for. The only person that could curse me out and have me pay for their stuff is like if I had a kid or my little brother, because that's a child, and I know that sometimes they say things that are very mean that they don't, actually hold forever to be true. But outside of that, I don't, you shouldn't have the patience for that kind of stuff from grown people. But Megumi, do you see how they took, because again, relationships, romantic ones, right, are optional. You don't have to have one. There's nothing for you to objectionably gain that you need from having one. So they're supposed to be just like platonic ones, that they're things you enjoy. And when women are literally just around you to keep turning you down for something as simple as going on a date, and then the few guys are able to get with the woman are like strapped for everything they own, what good is coming out of those relationships? But like I said, people in a heartbeat will admit there are people who have fake friends, friendships that are like toxic and bad, but they act like all these relationships are perfect. And they're doing that because they want to sell you this narrative that doing all of these extraneous steps to get with somebody are worth it. When a lot of these chicks, they don't do any of this stuff. 500 push-ups a day to maybe get a woman to go on a date. And we don't know what that woman weighs. Like I said, if I was trying to get with some woman that was a bodybuilder or some Olympic gymnast, I would actually understand where I would have to quote unquote step up my game. But for some random woman that, I've never met, who could possibly just do the exact same thing that one in that video did, where she goes, "Oh, I find you so attractive." 3 days later, "I don't think this will work. Goodbye forever." I don't really see where that's something you should subject yourself to. That's why I said the juice is not worth the squeeze. You have to get something out of these encounters with these women to justify you doing extraneous things that you would not normally do. Like if somebody says, "Hey, go to the market or go to a mall," I might not go there every day or more than like once a week or whatever, but I don't see it as that big of a deal because, I could just go in there and you'll be out as quick as you show up. You don't have to go there again if it doesn't work out. But to tell someone they have to undergo this athletic transformation to maybe get someone to go on a date, and you as a person who lives in the real world see people who are not in shape getting dates all the time, you got to look at that and say, well, what about you is supposedly so crappy that you have to do these extraneous things to maybe get someone to like you back? And again, even if you do those things, it still doesn't prevent you from encountering somebody that does to you what that woman did to me in that video. "Oh my God, you're so attractive, and I don't think I'm good enough for you." 3 days later, "I don't think this will work out for many reasons. Goodbye forever." Like I said, when I saw that, I wanted to spit on the screen. I was so mad. I'm glad my camera wasn't rolling. I would have said some very awful words if that had been the case. It's like these people have like a lot of these women waste the world's time. Like I don't speak to women I don't find attractive. Like who does that? Exactly. You can't ignore reality when it's in your face. Well, again, people ignore it because they want to peddle a narrative. Because most people don't go to the gym, most people don't run. I guarantee if we polled it was that 3 miles a week? It's like, and again, all of these supposed self improvement things are being done to get a random woman. Like, if somebody tells me to improve, uh, just here's an example, my living standard by going to school, at least that's supposedly being done for me. I don't see people telling me to go do that so I can maybe attract Taco. But that's why I said the self improvement stuff isn't about improving yourself. It's just little theatric stuff that people tell you so that you can make random people who don't even care about you possibly slightly more interested before they say no. No, people online are just they say everything. They invent conspiracy theories. They come up with their own headcanon. I had a guy on one video say that I was going to that like why wasn't I concerned with my studies as opposed to getting with a girlfriend or some trash. Hold on a second. Hold on, let me mute this. Hello? But yeah, I had a guy who said that was a person. I had a guy who said that supposedly I was neglecting my studies by like trying to get with a girlfriend because apparently nobody has ever graduated from middle school or high school after trying to get a girlfriend or some trash like that. And it's just I really wish that my comment section, like if people disagreed with me, right, they would actually address what I have to say. And you don't see that from these people. I like if I had a nickel for every time I had a man giving their advice where they don't address any points I made or talking trash about the way I look or some other trait they think I have, I'd be able to buy a yacht. Because all they do is assume things and just talk trash. And I just don't see where this makes for a fruitful dialogue. It's about improving your surroundings so women can mooch off of it. And this is my thing, right? It's like they've never seen what these women look like, right? So imagine you do the gym thing and you get these muscles and all that trash. Who's to say the woman you don't go on a date with is overweight? Because there are women who are overweight that get with men, and I'm not here to say that they shouldn't, do whatever you want, but I do think there's something wrong that the woman can like not do any of the exercise, but then you're told to exercise to maybe get a date with her. I think that's very unfair. Just like I think it's unfair that people will sit here and try to uh, accuse me of being destitute or poor when every time I speak to a woman and like there's a transaction thing involved, it's her begging me for money. I haven't asked a single one of these chicks on the computer for one coin. No, and every time, not all of them do this. Again, we have to clarify, but every time something has to do with money is involved, it's them begging for something or me offering something. And usually I only offer when they don't beg. And a lot of times my offers expose their stupidity, like the one that, remember, had the apartment that was every month her paycheck was getting eaten up. You offer to move in with her so she can actually save her stuff and make some. Nope. Like I said, I have to be a piece of garbage so these random chicks can be put on pedestals and held up as great and wonderful citizens that are doing everything right. And I really, the other thing that kills me, right, is that people, they associate being a good person with having a partner. And if that were true, why do you have men that abuse their children or who beat their wives or girlfriends? Think about it. If all the men who get with women are so virtuous, why do those types of men exist? Are those types of crimes, rather? Again, people don't want to believe reality. They delude themselves into supporting these fantasies. And I have to explain to this person that COVID bill has to pass in the Senate because they're crying about the minimum wage being increased. What a joy that'll be. Because they're celebrating, like, yeah, it finally passed. Like, no, it still has another step to go. Tell you, getting something passed in the Congress is literally like watching a yo-yo just spin back and forth. It's like this bill gets voted for in the House, rejected in the Senate. This bill gets approved in the Senate, rejected in the House. Oh my God. Got to keep that delusional narrative rolling. But do you see how they've taken getting with a woman and they've turned it into this like life affirming thing? And again, even if you get a date with somebody, they could just refuse to want another one. So, like, even if you do the stuff they say to do, you could still end up in the exact same scenario as somebody else. I remember there's this one commentator, I'm forgetting his name. Like, I like to not mention these people because somebody knows who they are, and then they're like, he was talking about you. But there was a commentator who was like calling women the B word and whatnot. which I don't do because I don't swear in the videos except for like light swearing like hell. And there was a woman in the comment section who said, "After the way that he talks about women, I don't blame them for not getting with him." And I respond to her, I said, "Well, I don't speak in this disparaging manner, at least publicly, and I still get the same result." And then she tried to like say, "Oh, eventually," just. But you get my point that they assign certain behaviors to people, and then when you have those behaviors get, what's a good way of saying it, challenged by the fact that people who don't exhibit them still get the same result. They have to like do some kind of mental gymnastics to get out of realizing that the way that this man speaks, whether you like it or not, is not the sole factor in whether he gets with a woman. Put this back on the charger. Oh, I really miss my old setup. I used to have the charger right next to me, like right under me, and I could just pull it. And now I have to move around. That's true too. Yeah, I'm really sad that people because like I said, I think the chick thing is more nuanced than people give it credit for. Like you could actually have a real discussion about how people create these quote unquote attractive traits, and then they try to say that if you don't meet them, then you're screwed. And then you'll have people who meet them that are still screwed. But that kind of discussion apparently is just too mature for a lot of people on a computer. That's why I said that I'm probably gonna have to wait until this summer when my best friend comes over, and then we can do a stream where we address the nuances of this stuff. They'll rather ignore these factors to fit their own narrative. All guys have trouble getting a woman is rude or a negative person, and it's weird too because they call it the self-fulfilling prophecy. Like if you say you're not going to get with the woman, you're not going to get with one. Well, the first woman I ever approached, I thought I would get with because she gave me her number. We had been friends for years, and she still said no. And it's like there have been so many different instances. Like when they say that kind of stuff about being a negative person, they assume that every time you tried to get with the woman, you thought it wouldn't work out. But a lot of times you were confident it would because they told you something that signified to you that they liked you just for nothing to go your way. Those scumbags are always with someone else. What does that tell you? Well, like that's what kills me because people on here, you need to improve yourself to get with the woman. Oh, this woman has a boyfriend, but she's still talking to you anyway. Well, he's one of the world's finest, and that's why she has to speak to one of the lesser quality men to, I guess, enjoy herself. I like how I used the Superman and Batman comic picture for that. These are the world's finest men. The highest quality men there are. And yet their woman still has to speak to me for some reason. Because like I said, I don't try to, every time they reveal they're with the man, it's because they felt like revealing it at that point. I never asked them because I really don't care anymore. You saw from the screenshots, I didn't ask either one of those chicks, are you with the man? And they revealed it. The VS just gets way too comical sometimes. It really does feel like a cartoon because people are telling you stuff that you can go in the real world and see isn't true. And then you're supposed to believe the people on a computer over reality. When you go to college, you're going to get a girlfriend. And my best friend's been in college for years, and then it's the same result. He even said last night, it's not like the movies. And really think of how crazy that is because most people don't have a degree, okay? So are you saying that most people are single because they don't go to school past 12th grade? Really? When you go to college, you'll meet somebody. He's been in college for at least 3 years, still nothing. When you get a job, women will find you attractive. He has been employed for years, still nothing. If you're over 6 feet, you'll get somebody. Still nothing. I told you when that, like, the only reason I stopped saying how tall I was because people kept just asking it over and over again. And I was like, why? What's the point of me answering a question if it's just going to make, like, if people are just going to keep asking it as if the answer isn't already there? So, and like, why does a random man that I've never met need to know how tall I am anyway? But, it was like when that guy said that I was short, they have to invent stuff like that to, confirm their biases. So I have to have no objectively attractive traits so that they can feel better about the situation of a man they've never met. It does make you want to vomit. I told you this stuff is so insane. Like, I never thought, City, that so many men would be affected, like men that live in other countries, men I've never met before, have the same problem, and people really sit there like, you are bad. It's like, well, hell, apparently all of us are bad. And you should have seen that one woman that was like admitting how difficult it was, and then she was like, "Well, women are also having a hard time because they have so many men who are coming on their pages and are trying to get with them, and they don't know how to handle." It's like, I don't feel sympathetic to them at all. Like, how are you going to compare having so many goddamn options to having none? That's like me comparing being so rich to where you don't know what to do with your money to owning nothing, like being so poor that you own nothing. Like they're the polar opposite. And you're like, well, they're also no. That's what I'm saying, Megumi. But she's not even the only one I've seen do that. I've seen multiple chicks actually try to compare having, like, always being wanted, having a whole bunch of options, to not being wanted at all. Like the woman I told you that I offered to like move in with her. She did the same thing to me. She's like, "Yes, it's. I wish there was some way for us to fall." It's like, you came to me. I didn't come to you. Don't tell me about your. Then go talk to somebody else. If you don't want to be wanted, what the hell? There are no similarities. I feel no empathy because these women will sit here and talk to you and tell you about how much you mean to them, and oh my god, you matter so much to me, and then they'll show that they wasted your time by rejecting your request to go on a date, and then they get to, not get verbally crucified while you do by men who've never even met this woman. So I have no sympathy or empathy. If you don't show it to me, you don't get it from me. That's how that works. Going to compare never getting anyone to be interested in you to where they go on a date. They just write a bunch of crap to having a bunch of men go. It's like, really? What an idiot, seriously. That's why I said this is like a cartoon. Like, imagine how psychotic I would look if I did a video. Like, let's say alternate universe, right? I've got a bunch of chicks trying to talk to me. Guys, my life, my love life is so hard. I have this woman trying to date me, and this one asked to marry me, and this one says she can't live without me, and this one says we need to make babies, and this one said, and it's so bad, and like nobody understands, and it's really similar to how there are a bunch of men that don't get with any woman, and it's like they're so similar. Like, how nuts would I look if I was complaining about being wanted? I look like a psychopath. Because remember, these chicks don't have to talk to these men. You know that, right? They don't, like, if they're talking to men over the computer, they can block the ones they don't like. You know what I'm talking about? They don't have to speak to them. So like when they get in these entanglements, it's because they chose to speak to that person. I'm astonished too. I was like, she really made that comparison. And she did it while she was talking to this guy, and he didn't, you know, like push back on it. Because a lot of interview people, or I guess people you speak to, try to make it, they don't want to appear to be rude. But I'm like, that is insane. Like, whatever. People have really. I think this whole thing is sad. I wish it wasn't so hard to get a job. I wish it wasn't so hard to get a date. I wish that I didn't have to talk to a bunch of chicks that say they like me and then renege. I can't even take them seriously anymore. Like I actually think if I got engaged to a woman, I wouldn't believe she was going to marry me until I saw her walk down the altar. Because remember, I got engaged to one a few years ago, and then after a couple of days, she reneged because she got in an argument with her mother. You get what I'm saying, right? Of how like they've played with your emotions for so long that you can't even take them seriously anymore. And then it's like people will say, "Oh, you're self-destructive," but they did this to you. You didn't make them say one thing and then do the opposite. It's like I wish they would admit they played a role as a collective in screwing this person up to where they don't believe chicks when they say something anymore because so many of them said one thing and then did the opposite. And now that person has to keep trying to like hope that the next one doesn't repeat the same trash as her predecessors, who all got to walk away scot-free with the damage they inflicted on this person. No, Megumi, if you have a woman who says, I find you attractive, you're too good for me, turn you down, why would you think somebody else who says that is telling the truth? If you have a woman who agrees to marry you and then a couple of days later reneges, why would you believe the next one who agrees to marry you is actually going to do it? Or rather, excuse me, why would you just completely believe in that person? I used to believe that as well, and I'm almost 40. You know what I'm saying? That like they do things as a collective, and then when there's a consequence, like you no longer believing them or taking them seriously. Oh my God, how could you do this? Have a more positive outlook. People don't even care. They just say whatever. They're like, yeah, let me tell this person that has every reason to not believe in the virtue of chicks that they need to keep on holding out hope. And like I said, if they don't want to talk to me, I'm not upset. Because again, I've spoken to ones that I don't even try to get with, and they're doing something weird. Like, why does a woman who has a boyfriend spend 5 days back to back typing stuff to me for hours? Why does a woman who has a boyfriend try to gas me about I'm the only person she talks to on this website and we're friends and you need to go see my other account? Like, what? You won't be surprised if history repeated itself due to the past stagnation or experiences of chicks literally playing with your emotions or lying to you. Yeah. But again, we're not supposed to believe in continuity. They want us to retcon the past. You know how DC and Marvel do that, where they're like, oh, forget what you thought you knew? Like with Crisis on Infinite Earths, where they're like, oh no, DC's new continuity started in the 80s and it carried over until 2011 when they did Flashpoint. So all the comics from before don't count anymore. That's how it is now, where like people actually want you to forget what occurred to you in the past. They would just say, I don't remember that. Huh? Yeah, that's a good comparison. They want us to retcon romantic rejections. That didn't happen. We're going to chop off the ones from the last 5 years. Those didn't occur. And that really kills me because it's like, and I'm not trying to compare getting rejected to, let's say, surviving an actual crime, but you have women that have had like abuse and other torturous stuff happen to them. And people will come on here and be like, oh, well, you have to understand her because she's been through this and this has happened in her past. But if something happened in your past that makes you not believe something or behave in a certain manner, you're told just get over it. You see how unfair it is? Oh, this thing kept happening to you over and over, and that's why you don't believe a bunch of random chicks that are likely to do the same thing as the ones from last year and the years before that. Oh, just, well, just gotta keep on hoping. Man, this stuff is so terrible. Like, you know, I genuinely don't believe that, and I'm not saying this to be amusing or funny, but I really think this is. Let's go ahead and saying it. This is a situation that is going to get worse before it gets any better. Because, like, play out these hypotheticals. People say to get money. So then all the chicks you talk to, you're going to think are gold diggers if they have less than you. And then people say to go to the gym. So then all the chicks you talk to, you're going to think only like you for the way you look because they didn't talk to you before this. There are people who tell you to become famous to get a woman to go on a date with you. So then you're just going to believe that that person is trying to become famous off of being involved with you because they only showed up after you became famous. But you see how anytime you make these extraneous status quo changes for yourself, it only makes the idea of women only then suddenly liking you seem all the more devious. Like they have a motive that is not conducive to actually liking you as a person. No, I always found that funny. You need status to get with the woman. Like nobody even knows who any of these women are. And most people are not famous, so that's even more ridiculous or whatever. Oh, it's because you're a guy, that is all. You get no sympathy whatsoever. Get over it. Yeah, they always have a bunch of sympathy for a woman, but if something happens to a man, whatever. I can have a woman say that she'll marry me and then renege, and I can have one that agrees to date me and then begs me for money for a whole week, and I can have a woman that tells me about how important I am to her, but then if you ask her to go on a date, she acts like you're asking for a kidney. Okay, they can do this stuff to me. I don't have I don't have the right gender to complain. It's a sad state of affairs. Because like I said before, I came online, I used to really believe it was me that was just this screwed up, demented monster. But after I came on here, and just there are so many men affected by this, and people, they actually think that this is just a normal thing. And like I said, it's not, because I gave you those examples of those past generations of men in my family and in my best friend's family, and they all said this is not normal. Even without knowing what I was getting at, they all admitted that no, they did not have this happen to them. And some of those men grew up in different states, different eras, and they all agreed on the sentiment of you're not supposed to talk to a bunch of women that is such a high number, you actually forget what the number was just to maybe get a date. I might do a video on the I word. More than that, you are demonized on a daily basis. Yeah, you get verbally crucified. Um, But I also wanted to say I might do a video on the I word and how that's the new N word. That like people use that word. It's supposed to mean men who are involuntarily celibate, and they use it to attack men that literally say, like, anytime a man criticizes a woman online now, that's what he is. I've seen married men called that term before. So I might do a video on that. I don't know. Yeah. And I already said it, that word is really sexist towards men because there are women that complain about men, like talk trash about getting with the man. And nobody says that they're part of a romance group that they didn't sign up for. Like literally, there is no female equivalent of women that speak disparagingly about men. It's just the woman is taken as a singular person expressing disdain for men. They don't say, oh, well, she's part of this romance group that she doesn't identify with or affiliate with in any way. Hey, but this is your fate, right? You talk to a bunch of chicks, have your time wasted, get attacked by people online, and then they're confused as to why you want to be left alone. It is, Megumi. I've never seen, like, when women criticize men, nobody tells them they're part of romance groups they don't affiliate with. They just don't do it. That's why I did the video how romance dehumanizes men, because I don't see women being told that they have to run 3 miles a week to maybe get some banana, or do 180,000 push-ups a year to maybe get a man to like them, or own a bunch of money so that a man might find them attractive. You just don't see it. But again, those are the double standards. That's why the stream has the title that it does. So, anyways, thanks for showing up. I will put some videos up this week as I usually. I'll do a stream on Monday. I just think this whole thing is sad. I think for something as simple as a date to be this difficult really shows you how defective people are. Like the women that make it this difficult to go on a date with, remember, with men who they say they care about, I think are defective. And I think the men who come online and harass somebody because they don't have a girlfriend or because they criticize women when women complain about men all the time are defective as well. And no amount of antagonism from my computer clown chapter of the internet is going to change anything about that opinion. So thanks for showing up. I appreciate it. Have a good rest of your Saturday.